It has been what's felt like forever since the last time I made a video, so I do want to apologize to those of you that are already subscribed to the channel and have been following me along. Been going through quite a bit, been very busy with work as well at the same time, so just haven't really had the time to sit down, make content like this. And I thought, what better way of getting back into making videos here in the credit card community than giving you guys an update on what's exactly in my wallet here in the summer of 2026. There's been some huge changes that I've made recently to what I carry with me for an everyday credit card setup, as well as adding some additional cards that I'll get into towards the tail end of this video, trying to hit a couple different sign-up bonuses and really just try to fill some gaps when it comes to different points and miles that we need for some upcoming travel. If you're someone that has been following the channel for a while now, you'll know that I am in this credit card game with a player too. That is my wife's. Shout out to her. She is willing to apply for some cards. So when I talk about my everyday credit card setup, it's kind of a combination of the cards that I have under both my name as well as my wife's. The theme of this video, and really my credit card strategy moving forward through the rest of 2026 and maybe even into 2027 as well, is going to be simplicity. I think you guys have heard this a lot from a lot of other content creators out there. With all the changes to the space right now, with new lenders coming in with things like the Robinhood Platinum card and its complexity with all its different credits. Of course, we have the primary examples of the Chase Sapphire Reserve and Amex Platinum card. I think there's definitely some credit fatigue, even for me, who's only been in this game for a little bit over a year now. I'm already starting to feel how difficult it can be to manage and stay organized with so many different cards, not only with a ton of credits, but also with annual fees that for me have been teetering around that $4,000 mark here over the last year. Before I get to those changes that I've recently made in that vein of simplicity and trying to condense down my credit card setup, first I wanted to share with you guys what I am actually carrying with me and what I'm actually spending on when it comes to my current credit cards in my everyday wallet. I'll sort of go in order of the cards that I'm spending the least on, and then really it comes down to just two credit cards that I'm actually putting a decent amount of spend towards right now. So first, I have my corporate card for my full-time job and my ID, so we can get rid of those. We don't really need to spend any time on that. Next up, I do have my SoFi debit card in my everyday wallet right now. Doesn't get any spend at all, just with me in case of the event that I do end up needing some cash. I can stop by an ATM and get that. Next up here, we have the Chase Ink Preferred card. Now, I've talked quite a bit about this card and how up until just a couple of days ago at the time of recording this, it has been the one Chase credit card with an annual fee that I don't ever think that I will cancel. However, with those changes recently announced to the Chase Sapphire Preferred, I think that this Ink Preferred may end up falling into the background and could be something that I could look to cancel here later in 2026. Main use case for me right now is its general 3x back on travel category. Now this comes in handy for a couple of different things, one being parking or just miscellaneous travel throughout the city of Boston, which we do live near, or what it's really gotten the most amount of spend for just throughout the last 12 months or so is on some of those miscellaneous travel purchases like Airbnbs. We do like to go and stay at least a couple times per year in some vacation rentals. But if you haven't heard by now, that Sapphire Preferred did just get a refresh where they added some additional spending categories, and one of those is 3x back for vacation rentals. So really the main or most significant spend category that I was putting on the Ink Preferred previously can now be captured by my wife's Chase Sapphire Preferred with that 3x. So like I said, the news of the CSP refresh literally dropped just a couple of days ago. So as I'm going through my everyday credit card setup here, quite frankly, I don't even need to carry that Ink Preferred anymore. And spoiler alert, I do have the CSP now in my everyday credit card setup. So more to come on that refresh here in a bit and some of the other details that I can definitely find some value from. Moving into the next card that I'm carrying with me, and that is the American Express Platinum card. This definitely does not need to be in my or really anyone's everyday setup for us maximizers that like to make sure we're optimizing our spending, earning the highest multipliers. It definitely does not really get any monthly spend. It's mainly in my wallet as a reminder to use its semi-annual Resi restaurant credit of $100. Other than that, it's just sort of in there in the case that I do end up going to the airport. I just don't want to ever forget it for the lounge access that it gets me in those Delta Sky Clubs. I did a full breakdown of the Amex Platinum card and how I think it's one of, if not the most valuable credit cards in my wallet when it comes to my own effective annual fee. So if you guys are curious to check that out, I'll definitely drop a link in the description. Moving into my next card in my setup that is guaranteed to get at least one swipe per month, and that is the Amex Bonvoy Brilliant card. Similar to the Amex Platinum, it's mainly in my everyday credit card wallet, quite frankly, because I have enough space to do so, but also just as sort of a reminder to use its $25 monthly dining credit. So the Bonvoy Brilliant, while it does not get a lot of monthly spend, it's another one of those that could be the most valuable card that I hold right now, given all of its perks and benefits. More information on that in some other videos that I have posted as well. And I teased this a little bit earlier, but the last physical card that I carry with me is now the Chase Sapphire Preferred. Now, this is my wife's CSP, which we did have plans to product change over to the OG Chase Freedom card to increase our spend cap from $1,500 up to $3,000, because earlier this year, if you guys will remember, I did product change my CSP over to that OG Freedom. So I have been able to take advantage of things like its Q1 5x back on dining. I've been using it for 5x back on Amazon here in Q2. Then in Q3, it will be earning 5x back on gas. Other than the dining category in Q1 of this year, where we did hit that $1,500 spend cap to earn those 5x points, there aren't really many other categories from the history that I've seen with these rotating categories from Chase that we would need more than $1,500 or so. But before the refresh that was announced, the plan was to just simply save a $95 annual fee by myself holding that Inc. Preferred. I still do have access to Chase's transfer partners and the ability to transfer out RUR points. And we do end up pooling those because we do live in the same household. So if you don't know, if you are a couple, this can be especially useful for you. If you call up Chase, the number on the back of your card, let them know that you and your player 2 live at the same address. You can actually link your Chase accounts. And then when you go into your Ultimate Rewards points tab on your Chase account online, you will have a combined points feature that will allow the two of you to transfer points to one another. So essentially, if you're in the credit card game in 2-player mode, only one of you needs just one $95 annual fee card in order to transfer out your Ultimate Rewards points. Getting back to the CSP refresh now, they did add that 3x back on vacation rentals, but they did also add 3x back on gas or EV charging. We had been using my wife's Amex Business Gold card, but as she's really launched her LLC and gotten a ton of traction, she's spending a lot more in a few different categories. We wanted to free up that Business Gold to be able to earn 4x back on her dining purchases when she's entertaining her clients. So we're in this weird middle ground right now where we need a card that earns in the gas category. Now, again, jumping ahead once again, and another spoiler alert here, I do currently hold the Bilt Palladium card, and with its base 2x earning plus its earning on rent spend, that is essentially a 3.33x earning card, so it does actually earn higher than just the 3x that we're getting now on the CSP. But I've talked a ton on my channel about point diversity and how important it is to make sure that you're earning points across several different currencies depending on your transfer partner biases. That will determine which of the lender point currencies that you'll actually want to earn in. But I think it's so important to have multiple of these to take advantage of even more transfer bonuses. There's so many benefits to it that I've talked about in several other videos. So while we could actually earn higher with gas purchases, and the story behind Bilt 2.0 and really any of the cards now that they have, whether it be the blue, the Obsidian, or the Palladium, which we hold, is the more spend that you're putting through those, the better off you're going to be when it comes to not only maximizing your rent points that you're earning through Bilt, but also really with just some of the other benefits that they have or use cases for Bilt Cash. Things like the point accelerator, making it actually potentially a 4.33x earning card if we are able to activate that more and more here throughout 2026. So the best part about the Sapphire Preferred refresh was that it was going to maintain its current $95 annual fee. So they're providing additional value with even more spend categories at that 3x, which is a very competitive multiplier. Again, the Bilt Palladium is kind of shaking up the space in a sense with its 3.33x earn rate, but also adding things like an additional $50 to its existing Chase Travel Hotel credit. So that's now $100, plus you are able to earn a statement credit if you do use the Sapphire Preferred to purchase TSA PreCheck or Global Entry. So that is actually it for the physical cards that I'm carrying with me. The wallet is now empty, but really where the magic happens and what actually gets the most amount of use on a daily basis is going to be this right here, which is my phone, where I'm currently using Apple Pay for both the Bilt Palladium as well as my Amex Gold card. One of the first cards that we applied for, I guess, as a combined couple was having my wife go out and get the Amex Gold card at the time, all the way back in 2024, where she earned a 100,000 point welcome offer. Now, this was a great way of just getting her started in the credit card game. I had already applied for several cards. I started very fast and sort of kept that same theme throughout 2025. So I was going to be in a tight spot. And the Amex Gold card was one that not only had a huge welcome offer at the time, but also just makes a ton of sense for us given how we spend every month in the two categories where it earns the highest multiplier of 4x, that being dining and US supermarkets. Aside from our rent spend, the amount that we put towards food, whether that be at restaurants or at supermarkets on a monthly basis, is by far and away our number 2 and number 3 spend categories. I would say even more so than other couples. We are definitely both food lovers and we love to eat. So having a card in the Amex Gold over the last year and a half or so was a great way of making sure that we're earning that best-in-class earn rate of 4x back on those two top categories for us. When I had my wife apply for the Gold, I did have her set me up as an authorized user on the card. I knew it would be quite some time until I was able to get the card myself in my Amex credit card ladder that I did climb later in 2025. So immediately we both held this card, which we were able to use on all of our food spend. But this sort of leads into one of the recent changes that I've made when it comes to our setup. I covered already how we made the decision not to product change my wife's CSP, but we also recently made the decision to cancel our Amex Gold card that is under my wife's name. Like I said, I did end up applying and was approved for the Amex Gold in June of 2025. So I do currently hold the card myself right now under my Amex account. And I do have the physical card with my wife, which is why I don't have it here to show you. I do have the classic gold version. But really the biggest opportunity for us that I looked at here at the start of 2026 was going to be, like I said, simplifying and trying to save on annual fees where we did not need to spend, especially by holding 2 Amex Gold cards under the same household. This card does make a ton of sense for us. We very easily can use all of its credits and actually get a positive, effective annual fee. That doesn't even take into account all the points that we're able to earn on it. But it just doesn't make sense for us right now because there are going to be some additional changes that I'm going to make, and we'll end up canceling my Amex Gold card as well, so saving an additional $325 there. When it comes to where we are going to put all that food spend and which cards we're going to use for it, I guess you guys will just have to subscribe to the channel down below. Make sure you ring that bell so you don't miss any future videos, where I'll keep you guys updated as I can with our overall credit card strategy, cards that we do end up canceling, and which cards we'll be replacing. The last card that I'll use on my Apple Wallet is going to be my Bilt Palladium card, which I've already mentioned I do carry, mainly for its ability to still give us that 1x back on our rent spend. Now, it being that 3.33x earning card has been such a game changer for us. It really eliminates a ton of other cards with arguably very competitive categories before the Bilt Palladium came out. Things like the CSP, while we are actually taking a hit by putting our gas spending on the Sapphire Preferred now, although it is a 3x category itself on the CSP, it just simply does not stack up to the Bilt Palladium. It's also forced other cards like the Wells Fargo Attune, which does earn 4% cash back on several different niche categories, which I had been using and mixing into our everyday credit card setup. That one is also another one that just sort of faded into the background. There's so much more value to not only be had with the Bilt Palladium's earn rate, but mainly through Bilt Rewards points and all the value that they have with their transfer partner list. Quite frankly, if we are ever traveling internationally, which we do have an Italy trip planned here for April of 2027, where we are going to be attending a wedding. For that trip, even if we do need Priority Pass, my wife did add the Amex Business Platinum in the middle of 2025, so she does currently have a Priority Pass membership already. So not that we need it, but I do have plans as well to switch from my current Amex Platinum vanilla version over to the Morgan Stanley version. I do use E-Trade already. So with that Morgan Stanley version of the Platinum card, that does have an additional free authorized user. So that would immediately grant her access into things like the Delta Sky Club if we do end up flying Delta for that Italy trip. So just kind of looking through my backup wallet here, I'm honestly just trying to find any other cards that do get even some form of spend. I do have, like I said, that OG Freedom that is getting used for our Amazon spending right now to earn 5x back. I do also have the Chase in Cash card. Only real use case for this is our Wi-Fi spend through Verizon, where it's earning 5x back. Only other card that really even competes with that Bilt Palladium and that I should even consider putting any spend on right now is the Rakuten American Express card, which I added right at the end of 2025, just used for some miscellaneous shopping. So I guess that's really it. Quite honestly, this is a very simple what's in my wallet video here for the summer of 2026. When you really get down to it, it's only 2 credit cards right now with the Bilt Palladium and the Amex Gold card. And while I don't have any immediate plans to cancel some of my highest annual fee cards, things like that Amex Bonvoy Brilliant, the Amex Platinum card, I've just found too much value in those. I will continue looking for more and more ways to continue simplifying our everyday credit card setup to help reduce those annual fees and limit really that credit burnout that I've definitely experienced here over the last couple of months. So just in the spirit of keeping you guys informed, as I sort of teased in the very beginning of this video, I did want to mention that both my wife and I applied for 2 credit cards over this past weekend, neither of which will end up falling into our everyday setup. They're mainly just for their welcome offers to earn some points that we need on the airline side. Now, I did have my wife apply for the Hawaiian Airlines card. Of course, as most, if not all of you know by now, this is going to earn us Atmos rewards points. And so the offer that she was eligible for, as you can see right here, was 60,000 Atmos rewards after just 1,000 in spend in the first 90 days. The main use case that we have right now for Atmos rewards has been flying back home, whether it be for holidays or just some random trips back to our hometown in upstate New York, where there have been several options to fly on American Airlines, but when booking using those Atmos rewards, we've been getting upwards of 8 cents per point. I'm talking about $450 flights for just 4,500 Atmos rewards. A card like this that can just get us some additional free travel, whereas over the last several months when we have had to book those flights, we've been transferring over my Bilt rewards over to our Atmos rewards accounts and then booking the flights that way. So it's not only going to give us a nice little piggy bank of those Atmos rewards points, but it's also going to help us save Bilt rewards, which we can put towards things like Hyatt into the future. And then under my name, I did apply on the very same day for an American Airlines, and that is the Platinum Select card. So whether it be those flights back to upstate New York, if or when they aren't bookable using Atmos rewards, or even potentially for that Italy trip, there are several options through American Airlines. I thought this was a great way of, again, just sort of filling in a gap of some airline miles that we could potentially need in the future. I did find an in-flight offer for 80,000 American Airlines Advantage miles for just, again, $1,000 in spend in the first 90 days. Those 2 offers are just simply too good to pass up in airline point currencies that I know we will use. That really does it for my credit card setup here in the summer of 2026. While it is a very simplistic setup when it comes to how much spend is going on just 2 main credit cards, I am still getting a ton of value given that those Amex MR points and those Bilt rewards points are 2 of the most valuable point currencies in the game right now. So I guess what I could have led with is that this is essentially my everyday wallet right now. That is my phone with the Bilt Palladium and Amex Gold, living on Apple Pay, with my wife actually holding the physical cards herself. If you guys want to see how I'm continuing to change along with the credit card game and evolving our overall credit card strategy, or just to see more about things like that Italy trip that I mentioned next spring, how we're going to go about earning the miles to actually end up booking it and things like that, make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel down below. I apologize it's been so long since my previous video. I promise I will be definitely more consistent here moving forward, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Cheers.